Welcome to Safety Shorts. Whether you're listening in for a toolbox talk or just tuning in to see what's new and reflect on safety, we hope our episodes are the perfect bite-sized portion to fit in your day. From this series, you can expect to hear about safety tips and best practices, learn about new ideas, and most of all, listen to safety stories from our industry guests and hear about their lessons learned. Hi, I'm Emily Hargrove, Director of Occupational Health and Safety for NSSGA. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Safety Shorts. May is National Bike Safety Month. What does bike safety have to do with aggregates, you ask? Well, who provides the material used to make roads, sidewalks, paths used by bikers all across this country? That's right, the aggregate industry. Today's conversation sits right at the intersection of infrastructure, safety, and community impact, something that every one of us plays a role in every day. And to talk more about this intersection, I'm thrilled to welcome Chris Kearnes, Vice President of Human Resources at Sunrock Industries, a vertically integrated building materials company based in Raleigh. Chris, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Hello, Emily. Thank you for having me.
Now, Chris, I know you have decades of experience in the aggregates and construction space, but there's also another side to today's discussion as well, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm an avid cyclist and have competed at the national level even. So I feel that there's a unique perspective that I might be able to share today.
Right. When you and I originally were tossing around ideas for this episode, we talked about the bigger picture and kind of the fit of this topic. So for those still scratching their heads about the connection between bike safety and the aggregate industry, where do you see that overlap?
Yeah, so as I was mentioning, the unique perspective that I have, I've been in this industry for 26 years. And a cyclist for over 30, competing in 2 national championships, both on the road and mountain biking. So when we look at the business that we're in, aggregates and heavy construction, our products are used for that critical infrastructure, roads, bridges, all of the shared uses that we may have. Further, there's a strong commitment to safety in our industry that I would encourage all of us to take an assessment of and understand that growth of this particular infrastructure can include bike lanes, greenways, bike paths. And if we look at our friends in Europe, they've done this heavily with great success.
And the goal of Bike Safety Month is to remind the public to put safety first and to bring focus to the importance of sharing roadways safely. Can you share some of your experiences from your perspective as a cyclist?
Of course. So I grew up in a rural part of Virginia. And while not cycling related here, it has a nice dovetail. That particular part of Virginia has an old order Mennonite population that still to this day use horse and buggy for transportation. Rarely are there conflicts, and that's mainly because of education, and everybody just expects to see them. The bicycles and other road users should be able to responsibly use transportation routes without fear of conflict with other road users. And I, for one, these days almost ride exclusively on trails due to that risk. Myself, I've had instances of threatened assault or had things thrown at me and even have been struck by a motor vehicle in my past. One can look in the major news lines and see that in the past few months, 2 professional cyclists in the LA area were out training and they were targeted by a driver while they were actually in the bike lanes properly. That driver was subsequently arrested. So I think there's just a gap in education, understanding of the various road users. But then as it applies to us in the heavy construction industry, we all benefit by investing in that infrastructure and adding to the roadways, the greenways, the bike paths that I'm referencing.
That really highlights the importance of something like Bike Safety Month. Clearly bikers still face a lot of safety risks, but on the flip side that you kind of mentioned as well, there are so many benefits of cycling: exercise, environmental friendliness, affordability. So what's the path forward? What should our industry or society more broadly be focusing on?
Really, it's a couple of parts, Emily. It's first and foremost that infrastructure. We've covered that, but an investment there, reaching out to our various legislators and asking them for more funding and opportunity to help be a part of building these things. Second, the education, not only for drivers, but cyclists themselves, these other road users, and specifically making mention of the safe shared use of roads. The rules of the road are pretty simple, honestly. We all need to make sure that, just like when we're driving on a daily basis, that you're operating in a safe fashion, that you're cognizant and respectful of other road users. Being visible is highly important. speaking to this team and the listeners that we're going to have here, we all typically probably wear high visibility clothing out and about. And when we're wearing that high vis, bicycle lights, high vis when we're riding on the road, staying as far to the right as possible, all of those things add up to keep us safe.
This has been just a great conversation, and one that I think really highlights how our industry's impact goes far beyond quarries and construction sites and into everyday life for millions of people. Chris, thank you for sharing your insights and your personal experiences. It's a really powerful reminder that the work we do truly shapes how people move and connect and stay safe.
Yeah, Emily, thank you for having me. It's a privilege to be a part of this industry. As I approach my 26th year here in this industry, I'm just humbled to look at what the men and women of our great nation, and specifically the aggregates and heavy construction industry, do every day. Without that backbone, we would not have the society that we do. So thank you to everyone that listens and for everything that you do in our line of work.
And to our listeners, I agree. Thank you for tuning into Safety Shorts. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe and share it with others in the industry. And until next time, stay safe.